Lately, I've been making a lot of Italian food. Usually, I'll find a recipe and I'll make several variations over it over the course of a couple of meals to really come up with what I think is the perfect recipe. At 800 degrees, we've got a pretty unique meat slicer. Our slicer is made for prosciutto specifically, but of course you can slice any kind of meat on it you want. But it's patterned after a very old, 100-year-old Italian design. And the design came about because it was invented before there was access to a lot of electricity. So the whole slicer is manually operated with the turn of a crank. So turning the handle on the slicer not only turns the blade this way, but it also moves the meat back and forth against the blade and pushes it forward slowly. So one turn of the crank gives us 3 different actions. Now what's special about this is instead of the blade spinning around at 1,000,000 miles an hour, the blade's spinning very slowly, so it doesn't melt any of the fat on the prosciutto and leaves it all intact. And of course, the fat is the best part. At 800 degrees, our slicer is pretty expensive. Now these things will last over 100 years if well maintained. This one cost about $8,000. So it's not something you're gonna buy for your house. But when you go to your butcher or your cheese shop or your deli counter, they'll have great slicers back there too, and you can request that whatever meat you're buying, whether it's prosciutto or great salami, that they slice it for you, of course. Usually for pizza, you want to go pretty thin. You can ask them to do it on a setting 1 or 2, and they'll know what that means. They give you a nice, thinly sliced prosciutto. With great prosciutto, the fat's considered the best part because the fat really carries the flavor of the pork. And with great prosciutto, there's only 2 ingredients, pork and salt, and thyme. So you need to pick really good animals that are raised right, that eat outdoors, that have a chance to root in the grass and live in the sun, so that their flesh takes on a lot of the beautiful flavors of the farm, the terroir, as we call it. From there, the legs are taken, they're salted, and then they're left to dry for 18 months or more. So really the fat concentrates that flavor. And in the prosciutto eating cultures of the world, the fat's always considered the best part. And in a great prosciutto, it should be a little bit creamy, slightly sweet, slightly nutty, and with even some of the best of them, you can almost taste through them the corn and the acorns and the other great things that the pig's been fed.